After nearly 30 years together, my wife and I are navigating an unexpected twist in our journey. Our bond, forged in college, has been a pillar of strength as we've navigated life's ups and downs. Both successful in our careers, we've supported each other through thick and thin. While our connection remains strong, the hustle of daily life has somewhat tempered the intensity of our earlier years. With our children grown and independent, we're now contemplating new horizons. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic has led to changes in our routines. My wife's increased remote work has sparked discussions about restructuring our professional lives. The idea is to allow us more time together now that our parental duties have eased and to embrace new experiences. Looking back, there were no obvious signs of trouble. No suspicious messages or secretive behavior. Whenever my wife went out, it was usually with friends or family, and she'd return home early. So the revelation hit me like a thunderbolt. The day I uncovered the truth, what I now refer to as D-Day, was meant to be a celebration of our anniversary. Instead, it became a moment of profound shock. Arriving home early to surprise her for our planned getaway, I noticed an unfamiliar car in the driveway. A sinking feeling gripped me, though I couldn't pinpoint why. Wrestling with my emotions, I debated whether to confront the situation immediately or gather my thoughts first. Despite my initial anxiety, a strange calm washed over me. Quietly entering the house, I found even our dog sensing something amiss. I ascended the stairs cautiously, the growing noises from our bedroom amplifying my apprehension. Pushing the door open, I was met with a sight that shattered my world, my wife's boss atop her. Shock momentarily silenced me before I managed a surprised exclamation. What followed would have been comedic if not for the heartbreak it caused. He scrambled, tangled in sheets, while my wife, tears streaming, attempted to shield herself. Amidst the chaos, I swiftly retrieved his clothes, then settled in a chair by the door. He demanded his attire, but I refused, tossing my wife's robe instead. Warned of dire consequences should he approach, he hesitated before settling beside my wife, asking what comes next. My response was a simple, I honestly don't know. As my wife regained composure, I retrieved my phone, declaring they'd confess while I recorded. Their exchanged glances spoke volumes, my wife seeking clarification on everything. I remained resolute, demanding full disclosure, the genesis, duration, locations, every detail. She claimed it was a one-time lapse, but I called her out, adamant this was no isolated incident. In the ensuing revelation, truth spilled, 9 months of deceit, starting with flirtation, progressing to clandestine lunches and hotel trysts. Her remorse seemed genuine, yet I questioned her sincerity, arguing true remorse wouldn't sustain such a betrayal. Their escapades even extended to conferences I once attended, justified by a dubious change in company policy. Silence enveloped the room as I pocketed my phone, contemplating their betrayal. Then, a notion struck me. Retrieving his phone, I demanded the passcode. Surprisingly compliant, I delved into his life, discovering a family, wife, children, a semblance of stability. With evidence in hand, I confronted him, incredulous at the recklessness jeopardizing his family. His denial crumbled as I threatened to unveil his transgressions to his wife. Panic ensued, pleas for mercy echoed, but the gravity of their betrayal demanded justice, regardless of the consequences. I erupt, the weight of betrayal crashing down. Amidst shattered dreams and fractured trust, his plea for mercy feels absurd. Tears stream down my face, defiance crumbling as I sink into despair. She attempts solace, but my glare demands distance. Regaining composure, I confront his feeble pleas, scrolling through his phone with resolve. His promises ring hollow, met with scorn. With her number dialed, I unveil the truth, a FaceTime call amplifies the impact. Her confusion morphs into shock as I reveal the scene before her. My heart wrenches as I deliver the devastating news. Her tears mingle with his futile apologies, but I refuse to let their deception stand unexposed. Details spill, months of infidelity laid bare. Assuring her justice, I vow to share evidence, severing the final tie of deceit. His departure leaves a void, but the weight of her remorse lingers. Alone with my betrayer, her tearful apologies pierce the silence. Yet, forgiveness feels distant amidst the wreckage. I command her departure, seeking solace in solitude. As she descends, pleading for reconciliation, I halt her advance. The prospect of reconciliation feels remote amidst the wreckage of trust. With her departure, the enormity of loss crashes over me. Tears blur the world as I collapse, reaching out to my last tether of support. Calling my confidant, words fail, consumed by grief. In the wreckage of trust, solace remains elusive, tears the only testament to shattered dreams. He asks, "What's going on?" but I'm unable to respond, consumed by emotion. Confirming my presence at home, I manage to utter a faint yes. In a display of unwavering support, he promises to come over. 30 agonizing minutes later, he's in my living room, a beacon of strength amidst my turmoil. Handing him my phone with the damning evidence, I retreat to the kitchen, unable to bear the weight of its contents. As I attempt to drown my sorrows, he intervenes, pouring the drinks down the sink with a solemn declaration. "This won't help you," he asserts, his gaze unwavering. Determined to shield me from solitude, he insists on my company for the night, urging me to pack a bag. Returning downstairs, I find him with my faithful companion on a leash, ready to whisk me away from the wreckage of my home. Update on the remarkable friend mentioned earlier. Dan's unwavering support has been a pillar of strength throughout the years. Our families share a deep bond, fostered by years of shared experiences. As we navigate this crisis, his actions speak volumes about the depth of our friendship. Arriving at Dan's, emotions run high. His anger simmers as he confronts his unsuspecting wife, Terry. In the heat of the moment, I step in, urging restraint and reminding him of her innocence. Recognizing his error, Dan extends a heartfelt apology, embracing Terry in reconciliation. With tensions eased, Terry is handed my phone, the weight of truth hanging heavy in the air. Seeking solace outside, I find comfort in the silent company of my loyal companion. Upon Terry's return, tears flow freely as we navigate the aftermath together, our bond strengthened by shared sorrow. Amidst the chaos, my son's call pierces through, seeking clarity. Armed with the truth, he grapples with disbelief, emotions running raw. Transitioning from anguish to reassurance, I offer solace, assuring him of brighter days ahead. Soon after, my daughter's inquiry echoes through the chaos, unaware of the storm brewing. Concealing the truth, I reassure her of Cooper's well-being, shielding her from the tumult within. As the night unfolds, I confront the harsh reality of fractured trust, clinging to the flicker of hope amidst the darkness. I explained to my daughter that I was at Dan and Terry's place, but she persisted, pleading for answers. Despite her persistence, I held back, promising to discuss it tomorrow. Frustrated, she relented, ending the call. Anticipating the next call, I briefed my son to brace himself. Then, I dialed my wife, querying if she was ready to face our daughter or if I should handle it. Her response was a torrent of tears. After a lengthy conversation, I hung up. A knock at the door heralded my daughter's arrival. Witnessing my distress, she rushed to my side, and together, we succumbed to tears. When composure returned, she remained in the dark. Another call to my wife, informing her of our daughter's presence, yielded no progress. With empathy, my daughter implored her mother to speak, met only by tears. Taking charge, I terminated the call, shielding her from further anguish. Then came the moment of revelation. I disclosed the painful truth to my daughter, her mother's 9-month affair. Her disbelief mirrored my anguish, leaving us both overwhelmed. Terry and Dan rushed to console her, their tears echoing our shared sorrow. After regaining composure, we gathered on the couch, words failing us. My daughter's repeated pleas for clarity echoed in the silence. Reluctantly, I postponed the discussion, promising to address it tomorrow. Though disappointed, she acquiesced, ending the call. Bracing for the next call, I alerted my son. Another conversation with my tearful wife ensued before a knock at the door signaled my daughter's arrival. Embracing her, we shared tears, the reason for our distress still unspoken. Despite her insistence, I couldn't bring myself to reveal the truth yet, shielding her from the painful reality once more. I broke the devastating news to my daughter. Her mother had been engaged in a 9-month affair. Witnessing her pain intensified my own, leaving me paralyzed with guilt. Terry rushed to comfort her, joined by Dan, their shared anguish a testament to our close-knit bond. My daughter's heart-wrenching cry echoed in the silence, etched into my memory forever. After gathering myself, I embraced them both, finding solace in our shared sorrow. Unable to find sleep, I sought refuge in the morning. After bidding farewell to Dan and Terry, expressing gratitude for their unwavering support, I headed to my cabin in search of solitude. En route, I responded to a message from the boss's wife, offering support and forwarding the incriminating evidence. A quiet packing ensued, interrupted only by the need to maintain silence for Darlene and Tim's rest. Cooper and I embarked on the journey, the weight of solitude palpable. Upon arrival, I busied myself with preparations, finding solace in routine tasks. A walk in the woods provided fleeting tranquility, though the weight of my thoughts lingered. Conversations with my son offered a brief respite, as did the therapeutic rhythm of chopping wood. Days passed in solitude, each bringing clarity to my next steps. Contacts to my office and legal counsel marked the beginning of a new chapter, while Reddit served as an unexpected source of solace. Amidst the wilderness, I found clarity, each step forward a testament to newfound resolve. Midweek, I engage in a heartfelt conversation with my HR manager, bridging our professional relationship into personal territory. Confiding in her, I seek counsel on navigating the delicate situation with my spouse. Advising caution, she recommends consulting my lawyer before proceeding further. Sensing the gravity of the situation, she encourages me to undergo testing and refers me to professionals for both STD checks and emotional support. Swiftly, I arrange appointments for Thursday with both specialists. Subsequently, I meet with my lawyer, presenting her with the damning evidence. This time, I truly absorb her counsel. Her incredulity mirrors mine as she reflects on the senselessness of infidelity, sharing her own painful journey. Assuring me of a positive outcome, she recounts her own resilience in the face of betrayal, cementing my trust in her expertise. Signing a contract, I seek guidance on informing the other parties involved, but she advises patience. Meanwhile, I confront my wife, who has sought solace at our son's place. Acknowledging my need for space, she grants it, abstaining from our shared home upon my return. The mere thought of our bedroom fills me with dread, compelling me to gather my belongings swiftly, minimizing my time there. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey thus far. The process of articulating these words has been both cathartic and agonizing. Writing about my daughter evoked a torrent of emotions, leaving me in tears for hours. I will provide another update next week. Once again, I extend my deepest gratitude for the invaluable advice and support from this community. Your contributions have been a lifeline during this tumultuous time. Though I may not fully repay your kindness, please know that your encouragement fuels my progress. Despite feeling far from strong, I am bolstered by your unwavering support. The motivation behind my initial and subsequent posts was a plea for help, and the response has been overwhelming. While I am nearly certain of my decision, the weight of relinquishing 29 years of shared life lingers heavily on my heart. Even now, I struggle to type X and still refer to her as my wife. What's wrong with me? I feel lost. On D-Day, she sought refuge at our son's place with his wife. He called, bewildered by the situation and my decision to ask his mom to leave. I insisted she needed to explain, or I would. He knew I had sought solace at my best friend's house. Meanwhile, my daughter returned home to find the absence of our dog. Eventually, she tracked me down at my friend's place, seeking answers. I couldn't bear the anguish on her face, telling her that her pain was more devastating than catching my wife with her boss. She left with the dog, while her fiancé joined her on Saturday morning. I informed my friend of my intention to retreat to the cabin for a few days. Could he drop me off? He agreed, recognizing the need for solitude. So, with the dog in tow, I packed up and spent those days at the cabin, walking in the woods, splitting firewood, finding solace in routine tasks. Returning on Saturday, I resumed my daily routine. On Monday, I initiated calls to the bank, credit card companies, and a lawyer recommended for personal matters. Playing her the recording, I was reassured by her unwavering confidence, prompting me to secure her services. She advised postponing discussions with my wife's boss within our department. Back home now, I find it challenging to enter the bedroom, except to gather essentials. On Friday, my son called, stating that his mom's presence was causing tension with his wife. Could she return home? Despite not speaking to my wife since D-Day, I reluctantly agreed. She came back on Saturday. I returned to the cabin, enduring the cold but finding comfort in solitude. On Monday, I resumed work. Despite my efforts, the image of her with her boss on D-Day haunted me. I don't know if I'll ever overcome it. We haven't talked. Preferring solitude, I retreated to my basement office. She asked to talk, but I wasn't ready, requesting space. While she was there, I dozed off in the recliner, then hit the gym early and showered there before work. For the rest of the week, I maintain a late homecoming routine. My manager advises me to invest in a new bed instead of sleeping on couches. It's a welcome suggestion. Withdrawing funds from our joint account, I purchase a new bed set for delivery on Saturday. When the delivery arrives, I treat the workers to lunch and offer them a bonus, requesting them to leave the old mattress for later pickup. I instruct the delivery workers to prop the old mattress against a tree by the street. They seem perplexed, but I assure them I'll explain in a few minutes. While contemplating burning the mattress in the driveway, I dismiss the idea due to the ensuing mess. Instead, I proceed upstairs to change the bedding, a task that triggers a realization. Grabbing a can of Blaze orange spray paint, typically used for marking properties, I inscribe "Wife cheated on me" in our bed in bold letters. When the workers enter, my wife queries the situation. I elucidate that I can no longer sleep in that bed and she must procure a new one. Her expression darkens, and she retreats downstairs. The new bed is assembled, and the workers depart, leaving the old mattress as instructed. Later, my wife informs me they left it in the yard, intending to retrieve it. I maintain a neutral facade. Although she may not have grasped the implication yet, the entire neighborhood will be aware by Valentine's Day. She attempts to reignite intimacy, but I rebuff her advances, asserting I wouldn't engage even if she were the last woman on earth. She counters, claiming our connection is deeper than mere physicality. I remind her that our intimacy ceased when she commenced her affair with her boss. Her shocked expression prompts me to initiate a conversation. I propose two options: either we endeavor to repair our relationship or we pursue divorce. Despite my inclination toward the latter, I entertain the possibility of salvaging 29 years of marriage. Yet, I seek affirmation. She expresses willingness to salvage our relationship, prompting me to outline my conditions, beginning with confessing the affair to our families. Our children remain oblivious for now. They're due to visit tonight. I'll provide an update on their reaction later. This is my current predicament, still reeling from shock, battling the urge to confront her boss, and seeking guidance on whether this turmoil will relent or if it's my new reality. Update. Later that evening, with her parents, sister, and brother-in-law present, my own parents having passed away 3 years prior, we convene in the living room. Ensuring physical distance from her, I brace for the forthcoming revelation. Initially offering solace, they assume someone is seriously ill. Yet, when I declare, this story won't tell itself, her father's expression seems to convey dissent. Credit to her, she tearfully confesses every detail, including the ignominious incident in our bed. Following an uncomfortable silence, she implores someone to speak. I respond, unleashing a torrent of pent-up emotions, anger, betrayal, and sorrow, highlighting the devastation wrought upon our lives and families. It's a moment of catharsis, although I never anticipated its intensity. I might have been too harsh. Finally, her mom intervenes, stating, "That's enough." She acknowledges her daughter's culpability and retreats upstairs in tears. Despite her mom's inclination to follow, her dad insists on leaving her alone to grapple with the consequences. We engage in conversation, during which they extend their support and urge me to reach out if needed. I inform them about my counseling sessions, expressing optimism about my recovery but grateful for their offer nonetheless. Despite the turmoil, I confess my enduring love for her and emphasize her imminent reliance on their support. Retreating to bed, I find solace in sleep, more restful than any night since D-Day. The following morning, before departing, I visit the guest room. It's evident she hasn't slept, likely spent the night in tears. For the first time since D-Day, the gravity of her actions seems to have sunk in. The disclosure to her family and my impassioned outburst appear to have jolted her out of the affair's fog. She seems genuinely contrite. Recognizing the necessity for enhanced communication, I stress my inclination toward divorce, albeit holding onto a sliver of hope contingent on her compliance with my stipulations for reconciliation. She consents to everything except immediate decisions. Recalling my father's wisdom, imparted before his passing when I was 17, about refraining from critical decisions amidst emotional turmoil, I become emotional. I lament his absence, wishing I could affirm that I truly heeded his counsel. She rises, embracing me, and though I don't reciprocate, the gesture provides an unexpected sense of comfort. Resuming her seat, I inform her of the imperative for her to find alternative accommodation. I elucidate that constant exposure impedes my healing process. We require space and no contact. She agrees, seeking further ways to assist, to which I concede my current overwhelm but promise to communicate later. On my commute to work, I arrange a meeting with my lawyer for the day. We convene over coffee, and I apprise her of the developments, including my 99.1% inclination towards divorce. I instruct my lawyer to prepare divorce papers as a precautionary measure. She proposes the idea of me renting an apartment for my wife and covering the initial month's rent as a goodwill gesture. I agree to this plan in case legal action becomes necessary. She assures me the paperwork will be ready for review by Monday. I contact a real estate broker we've previously engaged with, explaining the situation, and get referred to a rental agent. The agent identifies a suitable place, and I meet with the property manager to arrange payment for February, March, and the deposit. Upon returning home, I inform my wife about the apartment arrangements, detailing the costs and the necessity for her to meet the manager and sign the lease. The 6-month lease duration is a positive aspect. Is she taken aback by how swiftly I've acted? I clarify that I deemed it necessary for her to stay away from our sons temporarily. Movers are scheduled to arrive on Saturday. Despite her return, she hasn't inquired about our financial situation. I disclose that I've canceled the credit cards, withdrawn my share from our joint account, and deactivated the debit card. Though visibly perturbed, she concedes that my actions are understandable. She reveals that she hasn't incurred any expenses since splitting her time between our son's place and home. Additionally, she has requested a leave of absence from work due to personal reasons, which has been granted with paid vacation time starting on Friday. I assure her that she may take whatever she needs for the new place, but ask her to leave me some essentials and refrain from removing anything from the basement or any family heirlooms, including my new bed. I express openness to marriage counseling, suggesting she research 3 counselors for me to choose from. On Saturday morning, I depart early and return to find the house partially empty, including the TV. Nonetheless, I don't mind. I had been contemplating upgrading it anyway. My friend still holds onto my liquor, so I drop by to retrieve my favorite bourbon and enjoy a glass while documenting this update. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel not to miss new videos.